नमस्कार।
प्रणाम।
ॐ अखण्डमण्डलाकारं व्याप्तं येन चराचरं तत्पदं दर्शितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। हरिः ओम्।
Recording in progress.
Om Namo Bhagavate Sri Rama. Welcome back to our class on Thursday. My apologies to you. Last week we could not conduct it because I was traveling, in the car. So that was not the right moment to take a class. If I had been staying somewhere, this and done it. So last 1 week we could not conduct any class, neither this nor the Saturday Holy Mother class, Sunday Gospel. Anyway, we shall resume by His grace that class. Till last class we saw the Khandana and some explanation that were added to it. But you know that the whole Khandana's Sutram is designed in 3 stages. First 8 verses are sung in meter, that is in one tune, one composed one tune, and then second 9 and 10 in another tune, and 11 is 8. 9, 10, 11, 3 parts are there in that 9, 10, 11. So 10, 11, 9 is the first part, 10 is the second part, final part. So we see how beautifully Swami arranged the hymn, and you will be surprised that the hymn starts, though you start very very slow, and some people sing very very slow. Definitely, I've seen, and so slow they sing that even the tabla player or the accompanying player will not be able to even give the beats. Such slow also some people sing, but even normal speed if you sing, the last portion you will find becomes hectic, becomes speeded up. And that is how most kirtans are designed. You see the kirtans, they start in a slow mode and then they speed up. And then in a hectic way they speed up in the end. So that people start and start dancing, etc. So in the same method, Swamiji also has adopted here with a speed. That also we will see that. So before we start our class, let me request Malavika to sing the first 8 verses. And while she is singing, please go through the text and you will exactly get the Bengal, how the words are pronounced. So you will get an idea how it is sung in Belur Math. Not to Malavika.
খণ্ডনো ভাব বন্ধনো জগ বন্দনো বন্দিত মায় নিরঞ্জন নর রূপ ধর নিরঞ্জন নর রূপ ধর নির্গুণ গুণময় মোচন অঘদূষণ জগ ভূষণ চিদ ঘন কায় জ্ঞানাঞ্জন জ্ঞানাঞ্জন বিমল নয়ন বীক্ষণে মোহ যায় ভাস্বর ভাব সাগর চির উন্মদ প্রেম পাথার ভক্তার জন যুগল চরণ ভক্তার জন যুগল চরণ তারণ ভব পার জৃম্ভিত যুগ ঈশ্বর জগদীশ্বর যোগ সহায় নিরোধন সমাহিত মন নিরোধন সমাহিত মন নিরখিত কৃপায় ভঞ্জন দুঃখ গঞ্জন করুণা ঘন কর্ম কঠোর প্রাণার্পণ জগত তারণ প্রাণার্পণ জগত তারণ কৃন্তন কলিডোর বঞ্চন কাম কাঞ্চন অতিনিন্দিত ইন্দ্রিয় রাগ ত্যাগীশ্বর হে নরবর ত্যাগীশ্বর হে নরবর দেহ পদে অনুরাগ নির্ভয় গত সংশয় দৃঢ় নিশ্চয় মানসবান নিষ্কারণ ভকত শরণ নিষ্কারণ ভকত শরণ ত্যাজি জাতি কুলমান সম্পদ তব শ্রীপদ ভব গোষ্পদ বারি যথায় প্রেমার্পণ সমদর্শন প্রেমার্পণ সমদর্শন জগ জন हो जाए।
Thank you. So the eighth verse that says Sampada Tava Sripada Bhavagosh Pada Vari Yathai Prema Samadarshana Gachana. We just left it in the last portion for today. So what does this verse say, or Swami Vivekananda wants to convey to us? He says that he's telling to Sri Ramakrishna, O Lord Ramakrishna, your holy feet, wealth of the devotees. What you can take it as wealth, the wealth, that any wealth that you consider as wealth, permanent, it ever. But the holy feet of the Lord will always remain. So that is the permanent wealth that we have. So Sampada, that is our wealth. Tava Sripada, your holy feet are our wealth. Then this samsara, this has been always told to us that this Bhavasagaram. What is the Bhavasagaram means? It is the ocean. This ocean, very difficult to cross over. Like Titanic that sank. Likewise, most of our lives are being sunk in the Bhavasagaram, in the worldliness of this ocean. So Sri Ramakrishna came to take us out from drowning. So that means, that's what he is indicating here, that Sri Ramakrishna's holy feet, if we are having devotion to that, then that holy feet becomes a different tool for us to be taken out from this ocean worldliness. So he says, this Goshpada Variyadhai, that ocean of worldliness will become so small puddle which you can easily cross. So if you have devotion to Sri Ramakrishna, what happens? The result is that you can cross easily this Bhavasagaram. And then Prema Arpana, O Lord, you have offered your love to all of us, and you have seen everything equally, with equal. Jagat Jana Dukha Jai. He came. So Dukha Jai. It's a Bengali term, Jai. Jai means let it go. That it will go. How it goes? So Jagat, what goes actually? Dukha Jai. So I am having, let it be left. Let it go away from me. Let the misery go away. So whose misery it is? Jagajana, the people of this world. The people of this world have got a greatest of the suffering. What type of suffering can you say as the greatest? If you analyze the sufferings of the people, Jagajana, so Jagajana peoples of this world, the sufferings can be divided into three parts. That you all know that how the three parts are there. They are called Adi, Daivika, Adi Bhautika, Adhyatmika. So there are three types of sufferings we are having. If all the sufferings, you list it out and make a list and then classify it. You have to classify into three categories only, because our rishis have already done. If you want to do it, you can do it, try again. But you will not find a fourth categorization of the sufferings. Because any type of suffering you tell me, that can be included in these three. So Adi Bhautika is the first type of suffering. Adi Bhautika. That means Bhautika means anything that is elemental. So from any five elements that you get hurt, you get misery, and that is all grouped under Adi Bhautika. That means when you get up from your chair, you get hurt by the corner of the table. It is Adi Bhautika. When you are walking over the stones in the beach, your foot gets imbalanced and then you skid onto the stones. This is Adi Bhautika. When you go into the waters, many people love to take bath in the ocean. Yes, nice it is to take bath there. And some people, they get the water, the salty water so much inside through their nose, and then whole week they'll be only telling keep the kerchief on their nose. That also happens. How this misery has come? This misery is in Adi Bhautika. So all the five elements, when you are cooking, don't you cut your finger? Yes, many have got that experience, cutting their own finger or injuring their finger. Likewise, if you can multiply any number of, you are taking the sufferings, you can see these are all Adi Bhautika coming from the elements. Then after Adi Bhautika, then it comes this Adhyatmika. This Adhyatmika is self-created. That means nobody else is making me unhappy. Nobody is creating. I start worrying about my daughter who is in Italy. I am in Ireland. So I start worrying about her. Nothing has happened to her. She is quite okay. She is doing her studies. But still you are thinking here, oh, something must have happened to her. The same worriness, this difficulty, you got it because you created this difficulty for you. Likewise, hundreds of examples I can give you. That Adhyatmika. This is here, Adhyatmika does not mean the spiritual. Here that comes anything that is beyond the five elemental sources is considered as Adhyatmika. And the third one, anyone?
Swamiji,
Yes?
then this Adhyatmika,
Yes.
will it be created just by mind?
Yes. By mind. The mental sorrows is also a sorrows, you see. Yes. It need not be always the physical. So Adi Bhautika, Adhyatmika I said. Third one also I mentioned in the beginning. Anyone remember?
Devika, Adi Devika. Devika.
Yes. Adi Devika. So what is this Adi Devika? This is, you find the elemental sufferings and non-elemental sufferings, and beyond these two there is one type of sufferings that is comes to us through the form of the Sanchita Karma Phala. So that is called Adi Devika. So it is, in short, to say it, to indicate it as coming from God. So it is God saying. It's a very big thing. It may be individualistic, it may be cosmic also. Cosmic, we find the same thing, the Mahamari that is going on now, the pandemic all over the world, is nothing but Adi Devika suffering. Likewise, tsunami, if it comes again, that is an Adhyatmika. So in a cosmic way also it is. But in the individual way also, there is Adi Devika sufferings. And that is coming from the previous karma that has been stored. And the results are coming up now at the conducive time. So these three types of sufferings we are having. And the root of these sufferings, all the three sufferings, is our sages have found out one root. And that root is not very familiar to us. Yes?
So actually, even in Adi Bhautika, Adi Dvaivik also, it could be five element created, but they are not considered.
Yes, yes. See, it's because that I am not individually getting that. Say, while cutting the vegetables, I cut my finger. Okay. That is because only individual only affected, not the others.
So,
But collectively, if any sufferings comes to us,
so is it something immediate effect of an action, but this Adi Dvaivik is not immediate effect of an action? Say, for example, I would take the example of the salt water going through my nose, but the salt water has some like it's one of the 5 elements, but because
Yes.
I have inhaled, so that action is not there in the Adhidoivaka directly. Is
Not
that-
directly, because you are singularly you are affected by that. So Adhidevika sufferings generally are in a cosmic way. That means it affects many people. Now, yes,
And in a different context, Maharaj, what about sufferings caused by different other beings? That will be in Adhibhotika only.
Adhibodhika, yes,
Okay, thank you.
yes. Now, that's why we say Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. You'll find all the time, according to our chanting system, Shanti being told 3 times. So there are many people ask, one itself is enough. You say peace, that's enough. But peace, 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 3 times we are telling, because each peace, each Shanti refers to one type of suffering. So Adhibhotika sufferings should not happen. Let me be having peace from that. So I say Shanti Pratham Shanti, then Dvitiya Shanti, then Tritiya Shanti. So all the 3 Shantis we say because of 3 sources have been identified. Now you find, strangely, all these sufferings, if you take the sufferings only, what is the root? The root is something great. They say that the root is avidya at the individual status. That means I am suffering from these 3 sources. It is because I am shrouded by avidya. Inside the avidya. So what is this avidya? In English we use the word nescience. So that means not truth. This avidya. This avidya is part of the cosmic avidya, which is called Maya. So this Maya, what we say is a cosmic dimension. So this cosmic dimension, if you individualize for a single person, for me, for instance, so I am now attached to this world, I am suffering from this world because I have got avidya. What is this avidya? Not vidya is called avidya. So you have names, Vidya. It's a very beautiful name. So Vidya means what? That your name indicates, that Vidya indicates that you are the knower of yourself. It comes from the vid. Vid means to know. So you are the knower. Yes, that's why a knower is called vidva. A man who knows something, he is called. So this vidya is knowing our own self. Because we do not know our own self. And what is the reason? The avidya has shrouded me. So I cannot know. This is the root cause of the entire sufferings. Because when I start attaching to my body, I start attaching to my mind, I start attaching to my outside, that is my relations, blood relations, and I start attaching to all the other things, objects in this world. Then when I start attaching to the situations in this world, all these things come because I am connected to each one, like that I feel. This connection stems from avidya. So the mool, at the root itself, the avidya is there, and this is a part of Maya. So what Sri Krishna says in Gita, you'll be surprised that in the 7th chapter, 13th verse, he says, Devi Hesha Gunamayi Mama Maya Duratyaya, he says. Mama Maya Duratyaya. Duratyaya means difficult to cross over. And what is this Maya? Devi Hesha, he says. This Maya is a divine. This Maya is not to be deprecated. Maya is to be not afraid of. Maya is divine. As I am divine, my power also is divine. That is what the meaning here. Mama Maya, he says, my Maya. It's not somebody else. So my divine, this avidya that I am going to give to each individual is very difficult to cross. He accepts that. But then he gives a way also, how it can be crossed very easily. He says at that time, Mameva prapadyante. Those who take refuge at me, they will cross over very easily. Mayam etam tarantite. They will very easily cross this. Otherwise, it is durateya. That means it is difficult to cross. And that is what the Sri Ramakrishna's holy feet, about which Swami Vivekananda glorifies here. He says that Jaga Jana Dukha, the sufferings of the world people, jai, it goes away. How it goes away? Because we have taken refuge at his holy feet. And what is the function of the holy feet? The holy feet makes this bhavasara, the ocean of samsara, into a small puddle of a cow. Earlier he said. So in this way, that he has hinted, that the first line itself he has hinted that what is going to say in the second line, and the second line comes so beautifully. Any question? Otherwise I can go to the 9th verse. If no question, Juma can sing the 9th verse.
नमो नमो प्रभुवाक्यमनातीत नमो नमो प्रभुवाक्यमनातीत मनोवचन एकाधार प्रभु वचन एकाधार ज्योतिर ज्योति जल हृदय कंदर ज्योतिर ज्योति जल हृदय कंदर तुमी तम भंजन हार प्रभु तुमी तम भंजन हार.
Yes, thank you. So here we see word by word. Namaha, Namaha. Here Namaha, it becomes Namo. The Visarga goes away. Instead of Visarga, the Ma becomes Mo. So that is the Sanskrit rule, one of the rules. So Namaha, Namaha, Prabhu. And then he says, Vakya Mana Atita Mana Vachana Eka Adhar. So Mana Vachana Eka Adhar. We sing that. Mana Vachana Eka Adhar. And Vakya Mana Atita. So from this small separation of the words itself, one can get the meanings. If you are a Hindi speaking or Bangla speaking or any language in Indian vernacular, these words we use very usually. Mana, Vachan, etc. we use. So Mana, Vachana, Vakyam also we use this word. So these words, these three words are very important. And Adhar. Aadhaar also we all know. Because if you are Indian, you would have an Aadhaar card. You know that what is. So this Aadhaar word also is very familiar to us. So what is the meaning? So he says, O Lord, Prabhu, Namo Namo Prabhu. Prabhu is the word he uses. Prabhu means Lord. Who is the Prabhu? One who gives instructions. He is the Prabhu. So he holds all the powers within himself. That's why he is called Prabhu. So he will instruct us. So, O Lord, I bow down to you. He says, Namo Namo. Twice he says, repeated. I repeat my obeisance to you. I repeat my surrendering at your feet. So Namo Namo Prabhu. Who is this Prabhu? So my mind, I must get within myself that whom I am bowing down. And twice I am telling Namo Namo. So who is this person? Then he says, who is this person? Mana. He says, Vakya Manatita. See how beautifully Swamiji wants to tell us. Thou art Vakya Mana Atita. You are beyond the sentences. Vakya means sentences or words. And Mana. Mana means mind. You are beyond the mind and the sentences. Though you are beyond, I am trying to bow down to you, telling that you are before me and thinking of your feet, etc. How childish it is. At this age, at the 9th verse, Swamiji comes and tells how childish to think of Lord with his feet, with his arms, with all these things that we have imagined so far. Those are all for child education. Now from kindergarten we have now come to the college education. So in college education you cannot be so simplistic. So he says, immediately he declares first that he is mana, vachana, vakya, mana, atita. Then if he is vakya, mana, atita, we say that then you are not devoid of this vakya, mana. That means, suppose I say you are beyond something, that you may not be connected to that. It happens many times in our daily talks, in our ordinary conversations. We say, oh, that person is beyond all these things. That means he is not at all connected to your problem. If you want to go and tell him, he is not worried about that. Why? He is beyond all these things. We say, so beyond means immediately the idea comes that he is not connected. But Swami says, no. He is mana, vachana, eka, adhar. He is the basis of the mind and vachan. How beautifully he brings it. So there is a connection. Though he is transcendent, he is connected to he is the basis of this mana, vachana. This, we can see that the namaste, which says, namaha te is namaste. Namaha astu te is namostu te. You find the namostu word also we use. Namaha plus tu is, that visarga is there, so it becomes is in the middle. So it becomes namostu, namastu. And likewise, namaste, namaha te becomes namaste. If you want to know the meaning of namaste, recently brought out a beautiful short video. Might have seen it also. So what is namaste? We try to explain that. So namaste is something very beautiful. That word itself so beautiful. And so he says, Namo Namo Prabhu. Twice he is telling Namo Namo. Because that te is not there, that namas, that word doesn't come here. So Namo Namo, Namo Namo Prabhu, Vakya Manatita, Mano Vachanaika Adhar, Eka Adhar. You are the basis of this Mano Vachana. How do you say this? You see in the Upanishads, Taittiriya Upanishad, one beautiful sentence comes. It is very famous. Everybody quotes that. What is that? Yato vacho nivartante aprapya manasa saha. Manasa, yato vacho nivartante. Vacha, that means the words, try to tell, try to conceive the idea of what is Brahman, what is God, the Supreme God. But the words fail. Words are not adequate enough to express. How can you imagine the words can even say about Supreme God? Because we have seen words fail even in normal emotions. When you see your own daughter after 20 years, when she comes from abroad, and you see her, no word can come from your mouth. I remember this, when I went to my house after becoming brahmachari, after 3-4 years, I went to my home. My parents could not talk. No words came out. The emotion overwhelmed. So at that time, no words come out. So even the small, our dead, you see, the emotions cannot come out. That's why when a person really loves another person, when they see, they don't need words. So the words cannot. Yatra vacho nivartante. Even in small emotions, our words are not adequate enough to express our emotions. Now think of an emotion which comes out of seeing the Lord directly. What can word do? The words miserably fail there. Nivartante. Aprapya manasa saha. The manas cannot get it. Aprapya, that means it is not prapti, no. So the mind cannot grasp it. Such is the state where the Lord resides. That's why you find when Prahlada saw that after his father was taken to task by Lord, and when the Lord came as a Narasimha. So in the Narasimha form, Prahlad first could not utter any word. We find all these devotees. When Sri Ramakrishna saw the light of lights emanating from the Mother Kali at Dakshineshwar temple, he could not speak anything. And he himself says that Brahman is the only one Vastu which is not yet defiled by the mouth, he says. Isn't that? He uses the word Jhuta. That everything becomes Jhuta. Why? Because they have come from mouth. Whatever comes out of mouth is Jhuta. So we have all the words that we utter, everything is Jhuta. But one thing we cannot utter about, and that is the words cannot go there. And that is no Jhuta at all. So it cannot be explained. That emotion is, that's why it's Vakya Mana Atita, transcendent. But then it is, here you see, speaking and thinking. Both he says, Man represents the thinking aspect of our mind, and Vakya represents the speaking aspect, the words, speaking aspect of the mind. So thinking is okay. For everyone it is there. But everyone is not able to speak. What is the reason? It is because you do not have proper vocabulary of the words. I may have learned, say, one language, primary level. But if you ask me to give a lecture on that language, I will not be able to so. Recently, one group from Bengal, they wanted me to speak on Bangla for 1 hour. I had to excuse, no. You better contact some Swamis who are expert in Bengali. I don't have that much vocabulary. You see, day-to-day conversation Bengali is different. But giving a lecture in Bengali is indeed very difficult. So I don't have those vocabulary. So if you don't have vocabulary, what does that mean? Here, the help of language comes. So language, words, and its meaning are of course inseparable. So Shankaracharya already said in many of the previous classes I explained how the word and its meaning are inseparable, like Shiva and Parvati, he says. So now this language is a very big problem, because the language have been evolved to express the ideas in the mind. So we are having ideas, thinking in the mind, and that is expressed outside. And it says, Yatra vacho nivartante, the words are inadequate and come back. Nivartante means return. They return back. And then manasa, mind also is unable to grasp. In that situation, you think of this, that ordinary experience also sometimes are given in this fashion that the words are unable to explain. Then what to think of that wonderful experience of God, of darshan of God? Naturally, you can't speak. In our Puranas, you find when our Yashoda or Devaki, when Devaki first saw Lord, she kept silent because no words could come. When likewise Kaushalya, before Kaushalya, Vishnu appeared in 4 hands with the Gada, Chakra, Shankha and Padma. He appeared before her and she was stunned. She could speak out. And later she says that, oh Lord, if you come to me as a baby like this, how I am able to feed you? How I am able to take you in my hands and then do all the lalan palan? So be a normal child, she says. She has to request him, remove your form. And then Lord becomes a small baby and then starts crying at the time. Yes.
Or will you read it?
It is muted.
Sorry. Devi has written in the chat.
Yes.
She mentioned one incident. Will you read it and do it, or
Yes,
you want?
please read it.
Okay.
What she has written.
Yeah, so she has written that the second one, she's written that Maharaj, during the satsang, during Ramakrishna Ji's Tithi, someone shared a funny story connected with Khandana Bhava. Shashi Maharaj used to be in a trance during Arati and used to go on for an hour, the Deep Aradhana. the junior Swamis complained to Swamiji and he made Khandana Bhava to time the Arati, not sure of the source of this incident. So even I had heard that only the first two stanzas were made, but then Shashi Maharaj's Arati was so long that he had to go on adding verses. Swamiji had to go on adding verses to, is that true?
Of course, I have not heard that.
Sarvagananda Maharaj ji, he was saying.
Maybe there are some books, that deal with these things. Yes, I have not come across. But it's very interesting how that's why, even for students in our say in Arunachal Pradesh, we have got students, we have got schools, students stay in our hostels. So for them, every day we have to do Arati. The child itself, it's like Purulia, etc. But in Bengal, no problem, you can do the whole Arati. Though that some children will go and sleep, okay, because it's so long. But then in tribal areas, you cannot afford to have such a long Arati, The children are very, very short attention span. So you cannot, only the Khandana Bhava, we take 2 lines and then we straight away go to Namo Namo. What happens? It's called short Arati.
Yeah.
The short Arati, what happens is the Namo Namo is speeded up, so the children start putting their palms together and playing the tal. So it becomes, they are kept energetic. So if you have, and it's like Shashi Maharaj who goes into trance at that time, what you can say. Everybody has to abide by that. But then they understood, no, this is not proper. Even 40 minutes to sit in Belur Math also, many people come and say, oh Maharaj, because they have to sit on the floor, you see. A carpet is put on and then that carpet is very thin, rug like. So you sit on that. And 40 minutes you are sitting for Arati. So quite yes, there's some problems will be there. But then it's nice to hear from Sridevi. Thank you, Sridevi, for giving this funny incident. Yes. So the Khandana Bhava, so he says, I'm coming back to this Vachana and the words and mind. He is beyond that. Now you see, okay, Vakyamana, he is Atita, that is understood. And then God experience has nothing to do with the sense experience. That's why he says like this. And then he is the basis, he is the Adhar for both these. So that also is very interesting, that how he is the, you can say that he is the Adhar. We find certain examples from Upanishads. Say Kena Upanishads. Kena Upanishads says, for the person who sees, he is the seer. Actually we say I am the seer, but I am not the seer. So the mantra, Kena Upanishad mantra 1.6, what it says? It says, Yak chakshusha na pashyati, yena chakshu gungchi pashyati. Who does not see with eyes, but who sees the eyes itself. That means who is the basis of the eyes seeing. Likewise, all the pancha indriyas, all the pancha indriyas, it says, Tadeva Brahma Tvam Vidhi, that is called Brahman. You plead, the Guru is telling the Shishya, you know that this is the Brahman. What is Brahman? The Brahman is not perceived by eyes. It is that which perceives everything. So this is the Adhar. That's what we find this. So it's very beautifully, the Upanishads also say that. So with that, we come to the light of lights. These many places we have seen in our Puranas, the light of light has been exemplified by when the Lord appears in any Saguna Brahman, that is Saguna Brahman form. He takes a form, say Krishna or Ram, or even Ramakrishna himself, when he goes into Samadhi, he was extremely luminous. This luminous word, those who have seen that type of persons, they understand that. Some devotees used to tell me, Maharaj, we took our Guru to our home, and then, our Guru came and we made all the worship to him. And then when he left, we felt in that house is pervaded by a light. So what is this light? These are all imaginary lights. Okay, you may have imagined lights, you have seen the lights also. Even then, these lights are all a portion of some type of light which is beyond our even visualization. And that is called a light of lights. So Jyotira Jyoti. What is Jyoti? Jyoti means the light. The light comes up from a lamp, or you take a light, anything. Even 250 watts bulb gives a maximum light, that may be, but then 1000-watt bulbs also there. But more than that, the stars give better light than that. And more than stars, you find when moon comes, all the stars become very, very dim. So wonderful. And this moon also fades into insignificance. This sunlight, I do not know, scientific people know, but they say the sunlight water, according to the degrees, the watts also increases. So they say that the sunlight also is nothing before the light of the Atman, before the light of Saguna Brahman. Whether you call it Atman, if you are a knowledge, or I will call it Saguna Brahman for Bhaktas. So when you see the form of God or your own Atman, you find that it is the light of light, Jyotira Jyoti. And na tatra suryo bhati, na chandra tarakam. In the Kathopanishad, Lord Yama says, he says, na tatra suryo bhati. The Surya, the sun cannot shine there, tatra. Tatra means in that darshan time. When you have darshan of the Supreme Being, at that time, Surya cannot. The sun fails. And if sun can fail, what to talk about Chandra and Tarakas, moon and stars, they got nothing. Nema Vidyito Bhanti, even the lightning, it is nothing before that. Then he says, Kutoyam Agni, fire. Fire is a small thing. The whole city very big. And the fire can come from the mastic also. So it is so small. So even he says, what can do the fire do? Agni, Kutoyam Agni. Where is this Agni? And then he says, Tameva Bhantam. Because it is being lighted, because it is being luminous, because it is giving force of brightness, Tameva Bhantam, Anubhati Sarvam. Sarvam Anubhati. Everything follows that. Anubhati means following that it is shining. Sarvam Anubhati. Everything, wherever you find some light, that light comes not on its own. From that place, that is that Supreme God. So from Him it comes. He is, so he has very kindly, very correctly is put, Pasya Bhasa, Sarvam Idam Vibhati, etc. The Upanishad says. Now we find that Swamiji has exactly caught this idea. And that's why he says that there's Jyotira Jyoti. And also in Brihadaranyaka Upanishad also one place is called Jyotisham Jyotihi. Of all the Jyoti you take, if any Jyoti is there which is unperturbed, which cannot be doused, that type of light is God's light. So God's light cannot be doused. You cannot put it off. There is no switch anywhere that you can put it off. So that is how Jyotira Jyoti. And also Jyotira Jyoti, Hridi Kandara, he says. This is also a very beautiful phrase. Ujala. Ujala means Ujjwala. Ujjwala in Sanskrit we call it. In Bangla you can say Ujjala. So Ujala, also in Hindi also we use the word Ujjala. What does it mean? Blazing. Ujjwal means blazing. So Ujjwala we say that when we do the daily puja, when we sit for the puja, we do certain mantras. In that also say Ujjwala, we take up the fire that is within me, let it now burn. Let it come out. Like that we pray. So like that, Hridi Kandara, Hridi means heart. Kandara means cave. In the because avidya is fully permeated that place. That in a sense is there. If you want to remove that avidya, the darkness, what you must do, you must bring the light. And light is already is there. And that light we have not taken to that light. So we are now, because of this avidya, we are feeling completely dark. When we have the realization of Atman, then what happens? That darkness goes away because the light comes here. And that light is not ordinary light, Jyoti is Jyoti light. So that light comes. At that time, this avidya goes away. Ujjala Hridi Kandara. So Sri Ramakrishna is praying to him, "Oh Lord, Namo Namo, I have bowed down to you twice. So you must do something to me." So it is a demand from Swamiji. Say once you may do Namo, then okay, I may keep quiet. But if you do twice pranam to me, I will also ask you, what does that you want? Why you are doing twice? Then you are making me obliged, So he's making Sri Ramakrishna obliged. You come and remove that Hridi Kandara in my heart cave. Please remove that. How beautifully he brings that Hridi Kandara, you see there. So, destroying all our darkness of ignorance and then make it lighted up. This is what he says. Then, why do I tell you to show the brightness or the luminosity in my cave of heart? Because to me, tamo banjana har. To me means you, thou. So why? Because thou, you have got one great work. You remove the tamaha, tama banjana. Banjana means one who destroys. So banjana har means one who destroys. Banjana means destruction. So who does, if you remove that, if you destroy that tamaha, and tamaha, and avidya and darkness, these are all terms that we can exchange. You can use that. Tama also means darkness, one of the meaning, or the lazy, and all those things are there. But here we must take it as tama means andhakar. Andhakar means darkness. So tama is darkness. So that darkness, please remove the tama. That means you make me from tama to raise me to rajas. From rajas you raise me to sattva, and from sattva you make me go beyond the three gunas. When you make me go beyond the three gunas, then that is what your duty. Because I bow down twice to you. Hey Prabhu, so please take me to that. And that is what? Cave of our heart. It's a very beautiful term. You will find it in many Puranas also it is said, cave of the heart. You know that Lord Murugan is one of the names for him is Guha. Guha means cave. So he is Guhan, who stays in the cave of your heart is called Guhan. So there are several expressions in our Puranas we find that how the Lord is taken as who resides within the cave of my heart. That means he is within me. He is, because he is in everywhere, in every being he resides. So where does he reside? He resides in the cave of the heart of each being. That is how one has to, when personal worship is being done, and in the Arati time, it is absolutely personal, mind you. You and your Lord, nothing else between you. So somebody may be doing the ritualistic way of Arati. I think that once I told this in some talk, and this here also I should tell it, but not today. At the end of this Arati, I will mention how these 5 types of upacharas, that Arati, that came up. It's a very beautiful concept. You must also know that I will tell in the last. Okay, so today, that the first portion of the last verses we saw, 9, 10, 11. So I told you, this 9th verse, Namo Namo, is divided into 3 parts. One is Namo Namo is particular one type of tala. It is generally, slowly if you chant or sing, then we can play Tirtha. Or if you fastly if you do, then Kahara also can be played. And second portion, that De, Lanka, Bang, etc., that comes, that 2 lines, that are in a different tal. If you play slowly, ek tal. If you play fast, then dadra has to be played. So both these are very, we will come that. So next is, we'll go to the de, langa, ranga, bhanga, that portion. That I will take up next week. So there are 4 minutes balance. If anyone has to say something. Today Shubhra has got anything to say?
No more Maharaj.
Oh, don't put me in obligation.
No, Maharaj mentioned that we should not be attached to our families and stuff, but how can we not, like, right now at this point, my mother is very sick in India and I'm here in US and not being able to go. My mind is always like not always, all the time I'm thinking about her, and so my mind is attached to her. So how do you differentiate?
Did anybody say that you should not love your mother?
No, loving, but how do you like love, but at the same time you think that you should be detached? How do you do?
See, physically already you have come away from your land and you are already detached. Okay, one portion is done. If you are there in that house, the same house, if you stay from that, when you are living at a faraway place, you can understand the difference. Isn't it? The same way you cannot behave with your mother like that now. So that detachment has already come to you. And you are living without her. You got your own family also. You understand that as your. So you also your family. So your attachment, what has become, already has become very, very thin. Now, when she is suffering, when she is in the hospital, well, you cannot detach your mind from her. Even I say, tell you, if any devotee writes to me or tells me that he or she is suffering, I sit before Sri Ramakrishna and pray. Is it not? We all do that. So that is not considered as attachment. Attachment, when you say that, that bandhan, that is different thing. Particularly for your own siblings, your own blood siblings. This bandhan, what we mean here, detachment is something not to love that. No. Love every one of them. Yes, true. But then detachment comes only when situation comes. See, you are able to stay without her, that itself a replica of the detachment, full detachment. Now, if you knowledge, you become great in your knowledge and you understand that the same God presents in every being. At that time, if anybody suffers, you will not feel the suffering. If anybody gets pleasure, you will not feel the pleasure. So, na praharishet priyam prapya, na udvijet cha apriyam. So, in that condition comes equanimity. Yes, your mother is sick and she is admitted in hospital, you will feel for her, definitely. But the equanimity you have to develop. Suppose something happens, God forbid. What you are going to do? So that equanimity has to come, is it not, in life? Around us we are seeing this. Our friends are going away by this COVID virus. Our relatives have gone. How many of us are suffering from the pangs of the separation of the relatives? My own Purvashram relatives, some have gone. So we understand that. So we have to raise our mind to the level of that Sthita Prajna. Till that time, the attachment will be there, till you reach that place. So, but you must not stop loving your mother. That must be there. Yes, you feel for her, pray for her every day, and that's how you can pay your debts to her now.
Yeah. But sometimes my mind is like so numb, like I don't feel like doing anything at my house here. Like I'm just sitting and not energy. I know I have to do all this thing at my house because everything is dependent on me. But then at the mind is just so sad.
Yes. Because you
How
have heard that
can
news
you
that
say
she has been admitted in the hospital, you see.
No,
From
not
that
at
time
the
on-
hospital. She's at home being
Oh, she's at
taken
home.
care of. Yeah, she's
Okay.
being taken care at home. Yeah.
Yes, but she was suffering, so you naturally your mind goes. Yes, that is, see, that itself shows how deeply you are attached to your mom. Is it not? But slowly, slowly, if you start doing your other activities and then take the mind to the other activities also, say cleaning the house, etc., you have to do because you are living in a place. And by slowly doing that, you will get your mind slowly, slowly detached from the feeling that she is suffering. Yes, she is suffering, okay. But then you are not going to suffer for her suffering because that is not given to you. You are at a very far away. So and put your mind to other things. At the same time, pray for her every day, every time. That is the only thing you can do from distance.
Will you please pray for my mom?
Tell me, I will definitely do. And Namo Namo, you have said, so I will have.
No, yes, ma'am.
Okay, then. Thank you today. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Tat Sat. Sri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu. Durga Durga to everyone.
Maharaj.
Recording stopped.